Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for joining me for this presentation today. First, allow me to introduce myself. My name's Amanda. I've been an LPN since 2009. During my 16 years, I've had the privilege to work in many different care settings, primarily long-term care, but I've been the unfortunate witness to the devastating effects that short staffing has caused not only on my patients and residents, but on caregivers and nurses alike. So I'm very excited to share with you this idea that actually I've been passionately brainstorming for a long time. So without further ado, let's get into it. Inmate to Caregiver Work Release Training Program. I, Amanda, am the program creator and coordinator. So what's on the agenda for this presentation? First, we're going to talk about the problem, short staffing, and three major ramifications of the problem. We're going to talk about the solution. How does that look? The solution, how does it work? And how does it solve the problem? We're going to look at the budget. We're going to conclude, and then we're going to have a quick Q&A session at the end if anyone has any questions. Please hold them till the end. So, what is the problem? Plain and simple, there are not enough caregivers to care for our aging population, primarily in long-term care facilities. Why is this a problem? For many reasons, but we're going to go over three that directly involve staffing and caregivers. Ramification number one. So we have our high turnover rates. High work demands and increased work hours resulting from short staffing are having a devastating effect on the caregiver workforce. According to a study performed by the National Consumer Voice of Quality Long-Term Care in 2022, the national long-term care facility turnover rate is 52% in a period of 1 year. What's this mean? This means that 52% of employees that start a job do not continue that job in long-term care for more than 1 year. That's kind of sad. Ramification number two. Short staffing causes the facility to have the inability to remain in compliance with federal and state guidelines. And how's this a problem? Well, this is a big problem. Nursing homes continue to struggle to recruit and retain healthcare professionals, as evidenced by a recent survey conducted by the Vermont Department of Disabilities, Aging, and Independent Living in 2025. This survey revealed that 6 out of Vermont's 36 long-term care facilities had to answer to the federal court judges for not meeting CMS's required guidelines for safe staffing, which is 2.45 hours with an LNA or aide and 0.55 hours with an RN or LPN daily. And what does this mean when they don't meet those guidelines? Well, this could have a lot of effects, including the loss of funding for our Medicare patients. So the nursing home's not being paid. The nursing home may not be allowed to readmit patients. The nursing home may even close its doors, possibly displacing 290,000 seniors nationally. What's another problem? Another ramification is increased job responsibilities of caregivers, leading to increased and premature burnout. With the number of medical professionals limited in long-term care facilities, remaining employees are ending their careers early after becoming burnout from having to perform additional job tasks. Increased protocols as an effect of the pandemic added to an already stretched workload leaves high turnover rates. And high turnover rates are leaving empty positions and holes in the schedule, which is already stretching the workforce to fill. When you're doing too much work, you get burnt out more easily. You end your career more easily, increasing our shortage to this caregiving workforce. So there was a study done continued about the continued after effects of the COVID pandemic, and reports show that in 2019, only 32% of nurses were feeling burnt out, and then in 2022, um, well more into the pandemic, 46% of nurses were feeling the strain of the healthcare shortage workforce. So yeah, a lot of nurses are not happy. So what's the solution? So here's the solution that I've been brainstorming and proposing. The Half Moon Nursing Center and High Hills Correctional Facility will form a collaboration on a progressive and innovative solution to supplement the long-term care facility staffing needs. Who's involved? Who else? The inmates. Inmates from High Hills will be screened and selected to participate in a training program, which includes classroom education and on-the-job training as caregivers. So we're gonna set up a classroom, a stimulation classroom with beds and dummies and medical equipment for our inmates to learn on at the facility, at the correctional facility. After they're done with that, they are going to go and receive on-the-job training at the High Hills Nursing Center. When is it happening? The proposed plan is to have the students in the classroom by March 2026 and have students on site training by May 2025 in the nursing facility. How's it work? So we're looking at a van or a bus. We're going to transport the inmates with a correctional officer by van or bus over to be paired with a preceptor, another caregiver at the facility, to receive on-the-job training after they completed their classroom education at the correctional facility. How does it solve the problem? Pretty plain and simple. So we need more caregivers in long-term care facilities. Implementing this work release program will create a stronger and larger caregiver workforce, decrease employee workload, increase caregivers' time with residents, resulting, therefore, in less CMS violations, which we know results in other things, and an improved retention rates of employees in long-term care facilities. Our budget. Let's go over our budget a little bit. So items or staff needed. So firstly, we need to set up our classroom and we need classroom supplies. So we're talking desks, we're talking our textbooks, we're talking our classroom simulation supplies, maybe wheelchairs, walkers, dummy, hygiene supplies for teaching purposes. And that'll be about $20,000. Our uniforms, our scrubs, sneakers are about $2,000. Our clinical instructor is going to be making $60,000 a year, and our program manager is going to be making $50,000 a year. We will need a bus or a van. We're looking at a pre-owned van at this time, which is $20,000. So our total first year annual cost is $152,000. In conclusion, lacking caregivers is causing other caregivers to leave their careers prematurely, causing ripple effects. Implementing an inmate to caregiver work release training program will allow us to build and maintain a strong workforce to care for our residents in the long-term care facilities. Does anyone have any questions today? Anyone? Zeus? Angel? No. Okay. So let me just conclude by saying thank you for coming and listening to my presentation today. And please keep an open mind to new and innovative, progressive staffing solutions. Thank you.